the arrival and the mistake, the stars had never betrayed General Tharuk. For over 200 years, he had led the Xelari Dominion to victory after victory. His armies crushed all who stood in their way. 17 star systems had fallen before him. No defeat. No fear. Only conquest. So when the Galactic Council gave him orders to conquer one small blue planet near a yellow star, he didn't even blink. The planet was called Earth. Its people, humans, were listed as primitive in galactic records. Their technology was behind by at least 400 years. Their weapons used explosions to throw pieces of metal. How foolish. Tharuk laughed when he read that. Send in the first wave, Tharuk said from his ship. Let's finish this quickly. His fleet of warships dropped 12,000 Xelari soldiers onto Earth. Their first target, Camp Daehan, a strong military base in the mountains of Korea. It was home to joint Korean Special Forces and American Rangers. Tharuk expected surrender within an hour. He was wrong. Captain Jite stood on the rooftop of the command building, watching the sky glow red as the alien ships landed. He wasn't scared. Not even a little. He lit a cigarette and took a slow breath. They picked the wrong planet, he said calmly. Beside him stood Sergeant Hajun, his best heavy weapons guy. Big, wild, and always smiling when things exploded. It. Hajun asked. Jite nodded. Let's give them a welcome. The Xelari came down fast and strong. Hover tanks, plasma rifles, energy shields. They moved in perfect formation. Precise, sharp, but the humans didn't run. They charged. Hajun fired an RPG directly into a dropship's mouth, sending alien parts flying. He screamed like a madman as he loaded another rocket. On the eastern hill, Corporal Min Ji, the sniper, lay hidden under snow. He took out 3 alien commanders in 10 seconds. 1 shot each. No emotion. Just steady hands. Down in the trenches, Private Daehan, the youngest of them all, ran at a group of Xelari with nothing but 2 knives and a fire in his eyes. He didn't wait for orders. He wanted the fight. The aliens were confused, shocked. Commander, we are under attack, a Xelari officer said, voice shaking over the combs. Of course you are, Tharuk replied. That's the point of an invasion. No, sir, the humans. They are not normal. What does that mean? They run toward our plasma fire. One just bit a soldier. Bit him, sir. Tharuk paused. Repeat that? He bit through armor with his teeth. Tharuk's claws tightened. He ordered the battle footage sent to his screen. He watched in silence. A human, painted in green and black stripes, was sprinting into a line of Xelari troops, stabbing with a blade as he screamed something the translator couldn't understand. Another human flipped a 2-ton hover vehicle, rolled behind it, and used it as cover to shoot with what looked like a rifle made of broken parts and silver tape. A third soldier dragged his wounded friend across the battlefield, only to pull a grenade. Pin and charge into an alien squad with no fear at all. Taryuq leaned back. These are not ordinary creatures. At Camp Daehan, the chaos grew. Min Ji picked off drones like birds. Daehan stabbed a Xelari officer through the neck, then took the alien's weapon and started swinging it like a club. Jite stood on top of a burning vehicle, shouting orders. As fire and plasma lit the sky, push them back, make them bleed. On the alien command ship, more bad news arrived. Sir, said Second Officer Vexel, 40% of our troops are down. More vanish every minute. Vanishing? Tharuk asked. They're being taken, Vexel said, voice low. Pulled. Into tunnels, ambushed in the trees, dragged away by humans screaming in rage. They're hunting us, Tharuk whispered. Yes, sir. In the forest, Daehan crawled behind a squad of aliens. His leg was bleeding badly, but he smiled through the pain. He held a homemade explosive. "Come closer," he whispered. The aliens did. Then 3 humans leaped from the trees above, guns blazing. Daehan laughed as the squad exploded. Back in orbit, Farouk watched in silence. One screen showed a human soldier holding an alien arm. As a weapon, another showed a man using broken armor pieces as shields and throwing stars. And another, a human with a bloody face, no helmet, missing teeth. He stared into the camera. "This is Colonel Jun Suk," the man said. "You think you're strong? Cute. We've been killing each other for fun for 10,000 years. You're nothing new." He held up a Xelari helmet filled with water. He drank from it. Farouk felt something he hadn't felt in centuries. "Fear. Double quote, sir." Vexel asked. "Orders?" Farouk stared at the battlefield maps. They were all red. His troops were being broken down one by one. "They don't follow rules." Farouk said slowly, "They don't follow logic. They fight like monsters." He looked again at the human with the wild eyes, the bloody smile. "These human soldiers," he whispered, "they're not just fighters. They're beasts." General Farouk couldn't sleep. For the first time in 300 years, his mind was filled with fear, not because of weapons, not because of numbers, but because of humans. They didn't just fight hard. They fought like demons. No fear, no mercy, no hesitation. He stood in front of the holoscreen inside his warship. The battle report showed his army dying piece by piece on the ground below. Camp Daehan was still burning, but the humans were still standing, still fighting. "Send reinforcements," he ordered. 5,000 more soldiers. No more mistakes. The Xelari warships dropped fresh troops into the snow-covered Korean valley. Hover tanks lined up. Drones filled the sky. Soldiers activated energy shields. "This time," Farouk said to himself, "we win." But again, he was wrong. Captain Jite stood on a hill with his men, watching the next wave arrive. Snow fell around them, soft and quiet, but their hearts burned like fire. "We're outnumbered 20-1, said Sergeant Hagash Jun. Jite didn't blink. "Good. That makes it fair." Behind them, the last 300 human fighters were ready. Korean Special Forces, American Rangers, and some local militia. All wounded, all tired. But not one had stepped back. "Let's show them how humans fight," Jite said. The Xelari army entered the ruins of Camp Daehan. It looked quiet. Too quiet. Suddenly, the humans struck. Corporal Min Ji-I, the sniper, shot a high-ranking Xelari in the throat from half a mile away. Daehan, with blood on his hands and a homemade blade in each fist, ran into a group of aliens, screaming like a wild beast. He took down 3 before being shot, but he got back up, still swinging. Ha-Jun jumped from a rooftop with a rocket launcher on his back and 2 alien rifles duct-taped together in his hands. The Xelari soldiers panicked. "They're everywhere." "There. Not using normal tactics. They're crawling through the pipes. They're under us." General Farouk watched the live footage in disbelief. One human had made a spear from broken armor and was throwing it like a javelin. Another was using a damaged drone as a bomb. Another soldier was laughing while setting himself on fire and running straight into a squad of Xelari. "What kind of species does this?" Farouk shouted. Back on the battlefield, Jite used the comms to broadcast a message on the alien frequency. "Listen, bugs," he said. "We're not fighting for glory. We're not fighting for medals. We're fighting because you came into our home." His voice was calm, but sharp like a blade. "You think this is war? This is Tuesday for us." The Xelari were breaking. One squad leader dropped his weapon and screamed, "I didn't sign up to fight monsters." Farouk growled in frustration. "Hold your lines. Use the drones." But it didn't matter. Private Daehan, bleeding badly, climbed onto the hood of a hover tank and jammed a grenade into the hatch. He smiled as it exploded beneath him. Corporal Min Ji, with no bullets left, used the barrel of his rifle to choke an alien officer. And Ji-tae, with a cut over his eye and blood on his chest, walked through the smoke with a knife in one hand and a stolen plasma pistol in the other. He wasn't just a soldier, he was a symbol. Back on the Xelari ship, a strange quiet filled the command room. General Tharuk stared at the screen. His army was gone. One final message arrived. It was a live feed. A human face appeared. It was Colonel Jun-suk, a veteran with one eye, half a smile, and fire in his voice. "General," he said, drinking water. From a crushed Xelari helmet, "You thought you were fighting soldiers. No, you were fighting humans." He leaned closer to the camera. "We've been killing each other for thousands of years. You're just new practice." Tharuk's mandibles clicked in stress. "Impossible," Jun-suk smiled. "You brought a war." "We made it art." Vexel, the second officer, whispered, "Sir?" "What are your orders?" Tharuk felt something crawl up his spine. Not anger, not hate. Fear. "Prepare retreat," he said quietly. "Now." "But sir, now." The Xelari ships turned in the sky. The retreat began. Tharuk opened a channel to the Galactic Council. His voice was tired, hollow. "Do not return to Earth. Mark it as forbidden. These humans, they are not what we thought. They are not a species. They are a force. They are war given shape." He paused. "These human soldiers are beasts." On the ground, Camp Daehan was in ruins, but the flag still flew. Ji-tae stood beside Hajun, who was patching up Daehan's leg. "You think they'll come back?" Min Ji-I asked, reloading his rifle. Ji-tae lit a cigarette, smiled, and looked up at the stars. "Let them try." He turned to the new recruits. "We're not done. Today we defended. Tomorrow we hunt." The others nodded. Because humans never just survive. They adapt. They overcome. And then they dominate.